Hey, good morning guys. Today we're going to talk about something pretty important, and I think something we should have talked about a lot earlier in this channel, and that is wealth. A lot of people think that being wealthy is having a lot of money, having $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and while that definitely does help, having money really isn't my definition of wealth, and I think the proper definition of wealth. I believe the proper definition of wealth is having enough money to live your lifestyle without having to work. Basically, this boils down to a single equation. The amount of money that you have in savings, multiplied by the amount of return that you can get for that money, has to be greater than the amount of money that you spend to live. I think that once you satisfy that equation, honestly, it gets pretty easy from there, because at that point you can spend your life and therefore your time doing what you want to do and doing stuff that you're actually passionate about and not stuff that you're just doing to earn money. And this is one of the big reasons on why I embarked on this financial journey, because while I do love my job and I do love what I do, it's not what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I want to be making my own products, making my own businesses, and working on my own ideas, and not having to work for someone else just to get by in life. So to break this idea down, if you need $50,000 a year to live and you have $25,000 in savings, then you are wealthy for half a year. On the other hand, if you need $30,000 to live and you have $1 million and that $1 million gives you $50,000 a year from returns, then you are wealthy. You are wealthy forever. You will never run out of money because your money is making you enough money to live off of. And that is really the key here to success and to wealth and to being filthy rich like you see people being, is having your money work for you. You shouldn't be working for your money should be working for you. Aside from working really hard and starting a company and getting really rich off that and selling it, or someone dying and giving you a bunch of money, you have to accumulate that money yourself. And this is where this video comes in. I'm going to show you two really important ideas that are going to get you wealthy and are going to get you to a point where you can do what you want to do with your own life. The first idea and combination of ideas that you really need to focus on is savings and passive income. So savings is absolutely the most important. If we look at a study done recently from this article, it shows that people in the top 1% save up to 40% of their money. Now, that becomes a lot easier once you have enough money that you can save 40%, but still the idea remains. The rich don't spend all of their money, they save a majority of it. And then if you look at the top 10% of wealth in America, they save up to 10% of their money. And now, if you look at the bottom 90% of wealth in America, you can clearly see that they save below 5% of what they earn. And this is a really big problem, because continuous saving throughout a lifetime will get you to the point where you can live off the money that you have saved. And to demonstrate this, we're gonna go to my computer and I'm gonna show you guys a spreadsheet that I made that is also down in the description that you can download and play with yourself. And this spreadsheet really shows what saving a little bit of money every day for a long period of time can really do for you and how much it can really help. With this spreadsheet, we're going to cover the idea of passive income. So let's move to it. Here we can see a little bit of a sheet that I've made. So over here, we can see the amount of money saved daily. So let's just start off with something as small as $1. With an average return of 8%, well, let's make that 7% to match the S&P 500 over the last 100 years. And years to retirement, let's be conservative. Let's say you want to retire at 65, and right now, you're at 30. Give you 35 years until retirement. So now we can click this button and it'll show us how much we saved. So the first year we'll have $365. And from that money, we would have earned on average $25.5 from that. Now the good thing about this money is that if you reinvest it, it'll compound. It'll give you compounding interest the next year. So you add another $365 plus the $25 that you've earned, and now you've earned $52. This effect is really powerful, especially over long periods of time. So we can see here, just saving $1 a day for 30 years with compounded interest gets you to a point where you have $50,000 at the end of the 35 years. So this may not seem like a lot, but you're already generating $3,000 a year just from your money. And that's just $1 a day. And I know that you guys, maybe not now, but over the course of your lifetimes, will eventually be able to afford to put in more than $1 a day into this account. So let's take a look at how much you'll get if you put in a little more. If we up this $1 a day to $5 a day, and we try to retire, suddenly we have $230,000 that we can do whatever we want with at the beginning of our retirement. And this puts off $16,000 in passive income. And this passive income can be used for anything, or it can be reinvested and compounded on again and again. Now, what you really want to be aiming for is $10 a day. With $10 a day over 35 years, which is considerably low because I've looked at the analytics for my videos and most of you are around 20 years old, supposed to be retiring around 55. So golden age to retire. If you save $10 a day for 35 years, you're going to end up with $500,000 by the time that you can retire. And with that $500,000, that puts off $30,000 a year that you can live off of. And honestly, if you're living a pretty simple lifestyle, for most people, $30,000 is enough. At 55, with $10 a day, you can live off your own money and do whatever you want. On this channel, we're going to discuss ways to get a higher percentage return and find ways to save a little bit more than $10 a day. And with that, you can get a lot more money a lot quicker. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave this down in the description below. You guys can play around with it, put in the percentages you feel are accurate, the amount you can save per day, the amount of time that you wanna save up till retirement, and you can play around and see what you can do. This is just demonstrating a very powerful tool that compound interest and daily savings can get you a lot of money in the long run. You may be thinking that $10 a day is a lot, but I'm gonna be releasing a video next week. Well, maybe. I might be releasing a video next week that talks about how to save well, how to structure your savings, and how to structure a budget. I could also make a video on risk and how to get higher returns for your money. So if you guys please could, hit that like button and leave in the comments whether you want to see a video about budgeting or a video about risk. So either one I can do. They're both up in the schedule, but it's just up to you guys which one I do first. But you may be thinking, I don't have this kind of money to be saving $10 a day. That's where our next important lesson comes into play. One of the biggest ways that people get rich quickly, and by quickly I mean over like 10 years, not over like a month, okay? Let's talk realistically here. But they get rich without having a lot of initial capital or cash flow coming in is by using leverage. Now, leverage is any time that you purchase an asset or go out on a business plan using other people's money. You are taking on debt in order to increase the returns of your investments. This may sound foreign because usually debt is associated with losing money and bad things like I explained in my credit card video, but debt is actually very good if you know how to use it. I've heard it described as a fire before. If you know how to use fire, you can cook with it, it can warm you, and it can be the literal savior of your life. But if you mess with it and have too much fire or are wild with your fire, it can burn you and even put you in the grave. So we might be able to discuss that later, how to properly use leverage, but for right now, let's just go over the basic concept. So one of the main ways people use leverage and don't even realize it is when they buy a home. Buying a home is a bit too abstract for our scenario because we have to go into appreciation and taxes and stuff like that. But let's say you're buying a rental property. This rental property is super simple. It only has 3 numbers: your mortgage, the amount of rent you get paid, and the initial down payment for the house. Real rental properties are much more complicated than this, but this is just for an example of leverage. So let's say you have $100,000 in the bank, and there's a $100,000 house that you're looking to buy as a rental. Option number 1 is you take this $100,000 and you give it to someone and they give you the house. You bought it outright. You have no leverage. And then option number 2 is you give the person $10,000 and you go to a bank and you say, hey bank, I need $90,000. And the bank looks at you, you've watched my credit card video, so you have good credit, and they know you're a good saver and you've done the numbers and they trust you, so they give you the $90,000. So you take your $10,000 and the bank's $90,000, you combine them together, and you give that $100,000 to the homeowner. And suddenly you have bought a house for only $10,000. Now, let's see how the returns work out once you have to start making the payments. So let's just say that the people renting the house pay you $1,000 a month. With the house that you bought outright in option 1, you get that $1,000 every month. Yearly, that's $12,000. So you get a yearly return of 12%. Not bad by any means. But let's look at option number 2, the option in which you use leverage. For a $90,000 mortgage at 4% interest over 30 years, the monthly payments would be $477. So if you take away the $477 from your $1,000 you get every month, you end up getting paid $523 a month for your rental property. And now you're saying, so I'm getting paid less. Why are you saying this is giving me more money? Well, if we looked at how much you paid, this starts to make sense. So with $523 a month over 12 months, you're getting paid a little more than $6,000 a year. Now, $6,000 a year, when you only paid $10,000 for the home, gives you just around a 60% return on your money, absolutely crushing the previous return. This is the basics of leverage. You've used someone else's money to give you an even greater return. Now, the basic principle of this is that you're increasing your risk by taking out a loan. This increased risk increases your return. But the thing is, if done properly and managed correctly, this risk can be realistically mitigated and the returns can be exacerbated tremendously. The trick is keeping enough reserves to make sure you can handle the down periods when people can't rent or when your renters are switching out, so one of them moves out and another one moves in, you don't get paid for a couple of months. If you have the ability to weather risk, it will always return a greater reward. And leverage is a prime example of this. On top of getting a higher return, you can also employ this strategy 9 more times. Since you had $100,000, you can use that $10,000 down payment on 9 more houses. Now, in the real world, there may be some limitations with the amount of debt to income that the bank may allow you to take out, but we can cover that in a separate real estate video. The main point is, leverage can help you make very high returns. So remember, wealth is just a simple equation and is determined by how long you can live off the money that your money makes you. Saving daily and compound interest will be your best friend in attaining this level of wealth. And of course, leverage, when properly used, will propel you to a path of immense riches. So thank you guys for watching, and if you can, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, let me know what you guys want to see more of in the comments. And until next time, have a great day. Thanks for watching.